Okay class, let's move on to the next basin, which is Ganga-Brahmaputra basin. We will study about the type of climate which is there in the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin. Then we will move on to the natural vegetation. Then we will see the wildlife that exists in those basins and the type of people that reside in the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin. Okay, so let's first study about the climate of Ganga-Brahmaputra basin. The first point is the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin is favorable for human habitation. It is favorable for human habitation. As we saw in the Amazon basin that the conditions were not that favorable for human habitation because of the hot and wet climate. Whereas in Ganga-Brahmaputra basin, the conditions are quite favorable for human habitation because there is tropical monsoon type of climate. There is tropical monsoon type of climate. Let us see what is this type of climate. The tropical monsoon climate has very low precipitation for several months each year. There is low precipitation. It means that there is low rainfall for several months during the dry winter monsoon, but very heavy precipitation during the wet summer monsoon. But there is very heavy rainfall in the wet summer monsoon, right? So in the dry winter monsoon, there is very less rainfall, whereas in the wet summer monsoon, there is quite heavy rainfall. Okay, and the rainfall is low here because of the dry period is short, and this dry period, which is the dry winter monsoon, is quite short. This is the reason why the rainforests have grown quite nicely in the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin, right? And the trees survive of soil moisture from the abundant summer rains. So whenever there are rains in the summer, whatever moisture is left in the soil, it is utilized in the dry winter season, right? In the dry winter monsoon. The India has a tropical monsoon type of climate because India is also in the tropical belt. That is why it also has the tropical monsoon type of climate. This type of climate is also there in the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin. India has also similar type of climate. This type of climate has the rainy season, which starts from June to mid-September. The rainy season starts from June to mid-September. It is hot and dry summer followed by rainy season. So first there is hot and dry summer before June. There is very hot and dry summer in March, April, May and June, right? And what happens is in June to mid-September, there is very much rain in the rainy season. So first there is hot and dry summer, which are followed by rainy season in June to mid-September. This is the type of climate both in the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin and in our country, India. This type of climate is also influenced by the monsoon winds. You must have seen the weather forecast that because of the monsoon winds that are flowing from outside of lands of the India, then they are coming to inside the India. They bring the monsoon together with them. They bring the monsoon clouds together with them. Okay, and this monsoon wind blows in the tropics. High temperatures during the summers and dry winters are some of the characteristics of monsoon type of climate. There are high temperatures and dry winters. High temperatures in summer and dry winters. These are the characteristics of the monsoon type of climate, and this type of climate is found in the tropics. Right? And do you know where are the tropics? The tropics are, as I discussed in the previous video, that the tropics are just above the equator and below the subtropical region. So this is the region which has the monsoon type of climate. This is the climate in the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin. The Ganga-Brahmaputra basin is located in the subtropical region. Which is roughly 22 degree north to 30 degree north latitudes. So this Ganga-Brahmaputra basin is located in the subtropical region. There are tropics and above these are the subtropical region, and this region extends from 10 degree north to 30 degree north and 10 degree south to 30 degree south. This is the subtropical region. 10 degree north to 30 degree north, 10 degree south to 30 degree south. But where are the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin? The Ganga-Brahmaputra basin is in 22 degree north and 30 degree north. It is located between the 22 degree north. In the subtropical area, there is a small area in which the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin is located. And this basin is between the latitudes which are 22 degree north to 30 degree north, 22 degree north to 30 degree north and 22 degree south to 30 degree south. This is where the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin is located. And this Ganga-Brahmaputra basin is formed by the rivers Ganga and Brahmaputra as well as their different tributaries. This basin is formed by the rivers Ganga, Brahmaputra and the different tributaries of these rivers. Ganga is the longest and most important river of India. Ganga is the longest and most important river from the religious point of view as well, and from the ancient times as well. Ganga has always been one of the most important rivers of India, and it starts from Himalayas and it is one of the mother rivers of India, right? So Ganga is the longest and most important river of India. Ganga rises from the Gotri glacier at Gomukh, and there it has two head streams in the mountain. It has two head streams in the mountains. The first one is the Bhagirathi and the second one is Alaknanda, right? So River Ganga does not start as a river Ganga from the mountains. First, it starts as two head streams. What is the meaning of the word head stream? Head stream means a stream that is the source of water. That is the source of water. So the two streams that are the source of water for the river Ganga are the Bhagirathi and the Alaknanda, and later on they join to form the river Ganga. Okay? And these two rivers, these two head streams start from the glaciers in Gomukh, which are the Gangotri glaciers. Here are some of the tributaries which are given on page 165, right side: Yamuna, Ramganga, Ghagra, Gandak, Kosi, etc. And in the south, when the river flows to the south, it is joined by Chambal, Betwa and Son that rise from the central highlands. See in the map which is given here on page number 165, figure 9.7. As you can see that the river Chambal, Betwa, Son are rising from the central highlands. From the central area of the map of India is the central highlands, and these rivers are rising from the central highlands, and from the top there are the rivers Ganga and Yamuna flowing downwards and joining these rivers which are Chambal and Betwa and Son, and then they are flowing to the east. The Ganga river system drains Uttarakhand, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. These are the states in which this river Ganga flows through. Which are these? These are Uttarakhand, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. The river system Ganga drains through these states. The river Brahmaputra is also known as Sangpo. Sangpo in Tibet. Brahmaputra is also known as Sangpo in Tibet. This is a very, very important question from examination point of view as well. And the river Ganga, Brahmaputra is also known as Sangpo in Tibet. So Brahmaputra enters India in Arunachal Pradesh. You can see in the map, in a political map, that it enters from the Arunachal Pradesh, and then there it is known as Bihar. And this river Brahmaputra enters from the state of Arunachal Pradesh in India, and there it is called by the name Dihang. Its main tributaries are Lohit, Subansiri, Manas, Teesta, Torsa and others. These are not that important. The tributaries of Ganga are more important. Then this region also has coarse soil. The Himalayas deposit coarse soil. What is coarse soil? Coarse grained soil have grains of the size that can generally be seen with the naked eye. So if the soil has grains that can easily be seen by the naked eye, you can see directly with your eyes, then it is called a coarse grained soil. Although you may be required to hold a magnifying glass in your hand to see some of the very fine grains of the coarse grained soil, but you can still see it with the naked eyes and with the help of a magnifying glass. As compared to the fine grained soil, this coarse grained soil has larger grain size. Then first, at the foothills of Himalayas, there is coarse grained soil. Then below it, there is Terai region. There is Terai region, which is a swampy soil. What is the word swamp means? It is a type of wetland ecosystem characterized by mineral soils. It is a wetland ecosystem which is characterized by mineral soils. It has many types of minerals with poor drainage. But there is very poor drainage in the soil which is in the Terai region. That is, it holds a lot amount of water in it. It does not drain the water down into the ground. Rather, it holds onto the water which flows through it. So the Terai region soil is quite swampy and moist, and it has a lot of water content in it. And it also has different minerals in it. And the plant life in the swamp is dominated by different types of trees. There are different types of trees in the Terai region. And this is the difference between a swamp and a marsh. A marsh is also just like a swamp, but the only difference is that the marshland does not have the trees, and swampland has different types of trees growing in it, right? Swamps are found throughout the world. So the Terai or Terai is a lowland region. It is a lowland region in northern India, and southern Nepal. And here is the Nepal, the country of Nepal. In the south of the country of Nepal, this is the Terai region. So it is in North India and in the southern Nepal, running parallel to the lower ranges of Himalaya. The lower ranges of Himalaya, which are also known as the Shivaliks, this Terai region is running just below the lower ranges of the Himalayas. Right. And this lowland belt is also characterized by tall grasslands. This Terai region also has tall grasslands and scrub savanna. It also has scrub savanna and sal forest. It has sal forest and clay-rich swamps. It also has clay-rich swamps. So this was the type of land which was the Terai region. What are the Central Highlands? The Central Highlands is the part of the peninsular plateau. So what are the Central Highlands? The Central Highlands are the part of the peninsular plateau. Peninsular plateau is the part of our country which is triangular in shape, and it has the different seas on either of the sides. On one side there is Arabian Sea, and on the other side there is the Bay of Bengal, and it is in the shape of triangle. This is the peninsular plateau, and this peninsular plateau has Central Highlands. This peninsular plateau has Central Highlands, and in the Central Highlands there is Narmada river flowing. You can see in page number 165. There are the rivers Narmada, Tapi, Godavari in the bottom left corner of the map. So the Central Highlands lie to the north of Narmada River. They lie just above the Narmada River, covering major part of the Malwa Plateau, which is also known as the Central Highland. So a major part of the Malwa Plateau, we will study about these topics later in the different chapter. Malwa Plateau will be in the next chapter. So basically, Central Highlands are part of the peninsular plateau which lie just above the Narmada River. Just below this Terai region lies the fertile alluvial plains. Below the Terai region, there are fertile alluvial plains. And what is the meaning of the word alluvial plain? Alluvial plain means a largely flat landform created by the deposition of sediment over a long period of time. So what are the Central Highlands? The Central Highland is the part of the peninsular plateau which lies to the north of the Narmada River, and it covers the major area of Malwa Plateau, and it is called as Central Highland. So you can also see in the map, which is on page number 165, you can see that there is the river Narmada just below the river of Gandhi Sagar, and above the river Godavari and Tapi there is river Narmada. So the Central Highlands start from the north of the Narmada River. They start from the north of the Narmada River and they cover a major part of the peninsular plateau. Just below this Central Highland are the fertile alluvial plains formed by the rivers. Just below this swampy soil Terai region is the fertile alluvial plains which are formed by the rivers. And what is the meaning of an alluvial plain? An alluvial plain is a largely flat landform. It is a type of landform which is flat and it is created by the deposition of sediment. Deposition of sediment over a long period of time. Over a long period of time by one or more rivers. By one or more rivers coming from the highland regions from which alluvial soil forms. So there is a region where the alluvial soil is forming, and from there it is flowing down to form a large flat landform which is created by the deposition of the alluvial soil which these rivers carry with themselves and deposit it into the plain, and this plain is called as alluvial plain. So it is a landform created by the deposition of sediment over a long period of time. It is not formed in 1 or 2 years, it is created over a long period of time by one or more rivers coming from the highland regions, from which alluvial soil forms. So the alluvial soil forms in the highland regions, and from there it flows down with the rivers and get deposited in the regions which are called the alluvial plains. And the various creeks will carry the water further to a river, lake, bay or ocean. And this water which is being carried to the alluvial plain is further taken away by river, lake, bay or oceans. So these alluvial plains are then further joined by the plains which are in the northeast, that is in the northeast, and these plains are called as the Brahmaputra plains. So these alluvial plains are joined by the Brahmaputra plains in the northeast, mainly Assam, in the state of Assam. So these plains are joined mainly in the state of Assam, and together this plain is known as the Ganga Brahmaputra plains. So this alluvial soil plain, when joined by the Brahmaputra plain together in the state of Assam, is known as the Ganga Brahmaputra plain. And this Ganga Brahmaputra plain is also known by another name, which is Northern Plains. Ganga Brahmaputra plains are also known by the name Northern Plains. It extends from west to east. The topography of the plain is uniform. Oxbow lakes. What is an oxbow lake? It extends from west to east. The topography of the plain is uniform. Oxbow lakes are formed here. So in the Ganga Brahmaputra plains, there are oxbow lakes that are formed. And what is an oxbow lake? An oxbow lake is a U-shaped lake. It is a U-shaped lake that forms when a wide meander of a river is cut off, creating a freestanding body of water. An oxbow lake starts out as a curve or meander in a river. It starts out as a curve in the river. A lake forms as the river finds a different shorter course. So it becomes a lake when the river finds a different shorter course. The meander becomes an oxbow lake along the side of the river. Oxbow lakes usually form in flat low-lying plains. They usually form in flat low-lying plains close to where the river empties into another body of water. Where the river empties into another body of water such as the oceans. On these plains, rivers often have wide meanders. So let us understand this with the help of a diagram. Like this is an oxbow lake. And the water from the river is flowing through this lake. What happens over time, that this side is cut off by the processes of erosion and deposition, and this river finds a different path. It finds a different path through which it can flow, and this is a shorter route. And this lake which is formed when the river formed a shorter route and it cut off from the land which was there, this lake is called as the oxbow lake because it is in the shape of an oxbow. What is the shape of an oxbow? It is like this. This is the shape of an oxbow, and this is how the lakes are formed. The lakes are like this. They are like this. right beside them. Right? So this is an oxbow lake. So oxbow lake is a U-shaped lake that forms when the wide meander of river. This is a wide meander of river. This is the meander of river, and it is cut off. This meander is cut off, creating a freestanding body of water. This is a freestanding body of water. The water in it is not flowing anywhere, and it first starts out as a curve. As you saw that it first started out as a curve, a part of the river, right? It was just a curve, and the water was flowing through the river, and this was not here, right? So it started off as a curve, but later on what happened? A lake forms as the river finds a different shorter course. So the river found a shorter course as it was flowing through a longer course earlier, but later it found a shorter course, so it cut off from the meander, and the meander becomes an oxbow lake, and this meander becomes an oxbow lake along the side of the river, and this oxbow lake is just along the side of the river. Oxbow usually forms in flat low-lying plains close to where the river empties into another body of water. So where the river is emptying into another body of water, such as the sea and the ocean, you will find these type of oxbow lakes much in those plains or areas. Ganga and Brahmaputra river join Bangladesh in their lower reaches before discharging into Bay of Bengal. Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers join in the state of Bangladesh, country of Bangladesh, and before discharging into Bay of Bengal. So before the Ganga and Brahmaputra discharge into the Bay of Bengal, they join together in the country of Bangladesh. Please note that I am showing east here, but actually your east is here. Because of the camera, you might be having difficulty in the directions that I am trying to tell you. Please understand that if I am telling you east is here, then for you the east is here, right? Because I am facing the camera, so for me east is here, and for you the east is here. So if I am saying it is discharging into the Bay of Bengal, for you the river is discharging into the Bay of Bengal here, right? So let's move on to the type of vegetation there is in the Ganga-Brahmaputra plain. So the first one is tropical deciduous trees. What are tropical deciduous trees? What is the definition of tropical deciduous trees? Tropical deciduous forests occur in the regions with heavy rainfall for part of the year, followed by a long dry season which lasts several months. So there is a long dry season for several months, and then there is very heavy rainfall in the forest, and these forest formations are dense. They are quite dense and lush. They have a large number of leaves during the wet summers, but become a dry landscape during the dry winters. So these forest formations are dense and lush in the wet summers, whereas they are a dry landscape. They are just branches, in a landscape during the dry winters, when most trees shed their leaves. In the dry winters, most trees shed their leaves. That is why they become a dry landscape. Shedding their leaves allow trees to conserve water during the dry periods. When they shed their leaves, they conserve water by shedding their leaves, because the area through which the water would be evaporated is now lessened, because the leaves are not there on the trees and there are only branches, so there would be no evaporation through the leaves. So that's why the leaves are shed in the dry periods. And the bare trees open up a canopy layer, enabling sunlight to reach ground level and facilitate the growth of thick underbush. In the winters, where there is very little amount of sunlight entering through the canopy, the trees shed their leaves so that the sunlight can easily enter through the branches, which now do not have any leaves. So the sunlight would seep into the forest floor, and there different types of plants can now grow. The trees use underground water during the dry season, and tropical deciduous forests occur in climates that are warm year-round, and they receive several hundred centimeters of rain per year. So these type of forests occur in those areas that remain warm for the much of the year, and they receive several hundred of centimeters of rain per year. There is quite a lot of rain also happening in the tropical deciduous forests. So these were the tropical deciduous forests. First, see that the different type of tropical deciduous trees that are found in the Ganga-Brahmaputra plains are teak, sal, neem, and peepal. These are the four important varieties of tropical deciduous trees that are found in the Ganga-Brahmaputra plain. Tropical evergreen forests are also found in the Ganga-Brahmaputra plain. And what are tropical evergreen forests? What is the definition of the tropical evergreen forest? The tropical evergreen forest remain green, that is, they have leaves for much of the year. They have leaves throughout the year, and they do not shed their leaves like the tropical deciduous forest. The tropical deciduous forest shed their leaves in the winters, in the dry season, whereas the evergreen forest do not shed their leaves in the winter season. So these plains, these Ganga-Brahmaputra basin have both tropical deciduous trees as well as tropical evergreen forest. And these evergreen forests are mostly in the Brahmaputra basin. This is the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin, but a part of it is the Brahmaputra basin, and in the Brahmaputra basin, and there we have the tropical evergreen forest. While tropical deciduous trees are found in almost all of the regions in Ganga Brahmaputra basin. Then the next point is thick bamboo groves, rosewood, ironwood, and siso is also found in the Ganga Brahmaputra plain. The siso is also known as shisham in India, Shesham, shisham. So siso is also known as shisham in India, and these are the types of trees that grow in the Ganga Brahmaputra basin: thick bamboo groves, rosewood, ironwood, and siso. Let us learn about these type of trees one by one. A rosewood is a hard, dark wood from a tropical tree that has a pleasant smell and is used for making expensive furniture. So rosewood has a pleasant smell, it is used for making expensive furniture, and it also is a dark wood and it is found in the tropical regions. Then ironwood is a very hard timber. As the name suggests, that the ironwood is a very hard timber and it almost grind your cutting tools back. If you try to cut this type of wood with the help of your different instruments, then it will also cut your tools back. It will damage your tools while you are trying to cut the wood. And siso is also known as the North Indian rosewood, which is shisham, and it is a fast-growing, hardy, deciduous rosewood tree. It is a fast-growing, hard, deciduous rosewood tree. It has a beautiful look to it. It also has a very nice smell, which is there in the rosewood trees, right? And it is found in the Indian subcontinent and southern Iran. Deodar is, here is the deodar. This is also found in the Ganga Brahmaputra basin. In the hilly areas, we have the conifers, and which are the deodars, pine, and oak. So, in the hilly areas in the Ganga Brahmaputra basin, we have conifers, for example, deodar, pine, and oaks. Let us see what is a deodar. A deodar is a Himalayan cedar, a large evergreen coniferous trees. We have discussed what are coniferous trees in the previous videos. They are sharp needle-like trees. They have leaves which are very sharp and needle-like. So these are the coniferous trees. One example is your Christmas tree. It also has very sharp and needle-like leaves. And deodar is commonly found in the Himalayas. So it is a coniferous tree. It is found in Himalayas. It is the strongest Indian coniferous wood. Deodar is the strongest Indian coniferous wood. And the primary use of this deodar is for railway sleepers, for beams, for floorboards, and post doors and window frames. See that this is such strong Indian coniferous wood that it is used for railway sleepers, beams, floorboards, post doors, and window frames. What is pine? A pine is a tall evergreen tree that has thin, sharp needles. The wood from pine tree, which is often used for making furniture. So pine is a tall evergreen tree which has thin, sharp, needle-like leaves, and the wood from these trees is often used for making the furniture. Oak is a type of large tree with hard wood that is common in many northern parts of the world. Oak is commonly used for furniture, flooring, and paneling. So it is also a large tree. Oak is a large tree with hard wood that is common in many northern parts of the world, and oak is commonly used for furniture, flooring, for making floor, and the paneling. Then let us see the different. There is one more point. Mangrove forest called Sundarbans. So what are mangrove forests? These are also found in the Ganga Brahmaputra basin. The mangrove forests are a type of forest which is a shrub or tree that grows in coastal saline or brackish water. See, here is an image of the Sundarbans on page number 166, figure 9.9. The Sundarbans, you can see that the trees have their shrubs growing out of the water. They are raising from the water, and it grows in the coastal saline or brackish water, and they are salt tolerant trees. Most of the trees cannot grow in the waters which have a high content of salt in them, but these type of trees, which is mangrove trees, can easily tolerate the salt content which is there in the water, in the saline water, and these are also called as halophytes and are adapted to live in the harsh coastal conditions. They can easily survive in the harsh coastal conditions. So these were the mangrove trees. This was the natural vegetation of the Ganga Brahmaputra basin.